Hi, how y'all doing? Thank you so much for joining me here on this episode of CATO'S Cannabis Chronicles. I'm so delighted you're here. In this episode, it's just going to be a brief little summary of what I've heard, of what I've learned in the last month since we started this series. It is October 2nd when we first started the CATO'S Cannabis Chronicles series. And I've learned a number of different things that I'm so very excited about. So stay tuned and I'll share just the highlights and show a few documents that have really touched my heart and sort of illuminated the things that I've learned. So if you are interested in sticking around and learning a little bit more, stay tuned. We're going to be talking this episode about the endocannabinoid system. So while we're waiting to begin, there's really no wait, hit the subscribe button and ring the bell so that you can be notified whenever we upload new episodes. We upload on Sundays for the stories of victory over adversity series, and on Wednesdays for the CATO'S Cannabis Chronicles series. So since today is Wednesday, it's CATO'S Cannabis Chronicles. So as you know, if you've been following along, we've talked an awful lot with a number of different people about their experiences with cannabis, their knowledge about the benefits and positive outcomes since they became introduced to CBD or cannabis in various forms. And we've talked to scientists who have been able to delve into a better understanding of the individual system, particularly those who are wanting to decrease or eliminate their consumption of cannabis for the scientists. And then we've spoken to others who have been using cannabis for a long time, initially thinking that they were actually embarking into a recreational kind of activity, but then realizing the benefits that they received in terms of the ability to calm their anxiety and decrease mental confusion and give them clarity and even creativity in ways they hadn't noticed before. In addition to that, some others have sort of illuminated that their introduction to cannabis was also an introduction to a really tight-knit and supportive community that they have benefited tremendously from being a part of. Others have been able to branch off and develop careers and potential that they hadn't thought of before. My experience has been that my introduction to CBD oil, it did in fact open a world for me in terms of meeting all these people that I've been sharing with you and understanding that we have a specific system, the endocannabinoid system, that responds for some, and for those with whom I've been speaking, our endocannabinoid system responds well to the CBD and THC or cannabis in general that they've been using. That has been my experience as well. It's opened the world of creativity. It's opened a world of clarity. I've been able to grab a hold of thoughts that were just sort of randomly floating around in my mind for years, in some cases decades. And upon starting my CBD oil regime back in March, I branched out into a whole world of professional development and personal growth that really and truly I would never have thought possible prior to being introduced to this plant. So I wanted to share with you just a little bit about the endocannabinoid system, really just touching base. And stay tuned, because at the end of this particular episode, I'm going to tell you how you can get some of the materials that I'll be showing you now. If you connect with me, give me your email and name, I will be able to send to you what I have. But for now, let me at least show you. Now, this is always the interesting part. Right. Okay. So here we go. This is the big lesson for me, the human endocannabinoid system. It's interesting because we all have this. We were born with this. We were born with a system that helps us regulate our central nervous system. It regulates our organs, and it's all throughout the body. So I hope you can see my little pointer here. It talks an awful lot about, well, not an awful lot, but it has some information on this document about what our system is. And then it goes on to say, like, these are this right here, the pink section, is our actual internal, a look at our endocannabinoid system at a microscopic level. And it clearly receives information much like a lock and key, as was mentioned before. Oh, hang on. Hi.
Hey, Kim, should I come by?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'm on my way now.
Okay, thanks. Bye.
Okay, bye.
Excuse me. So it's our system is basically like a lock and key. So this being the lock, that's the endocannabinoid system being the lock, and the THC, CBD, or CBN, which are three components in the plant amongst a multitude of components. Now in our system, we have the CB1 receptor and the CB2 receptors. Now, the CB1 receptors respond very well to THC. And so the key for the CB1 lock is the THC. And you can see in the diagram of the body, the full body here, where the CB1 receptors are. So they're in the brain, they're in the central nervous system, they're in the kidneys and whatnot, and they're even all the way down to our feet, these receptors are. So when we ingest the THC, as the key, it locks into the CB1 receptor and produces the same things really that the endocannabinoid system would have produced. It then downregulates to enable the THC to perform its magic, and for lack of a better word. Of course, I'll be linking as we go through this to different episodes or videos about scientifically discussing what this all is. So it will be clearly in terms that are much more accurate than mine. Then I'm going to skip over the CBD, but here the CBN, it responds to the CB2 receptors within the endocannabinoid system. So the lock being the CB1 and the CB2, and the key being the THC, CBD, and CBN. And those are components of the cannabis plant that you actually ingest when you do either smoke or eat or put under your tongue the oil of the CBD oil. This is part of the reason why it's was highly recommended to me, or it makes sense to me in now seeing this, why it was recommended to me to do the full spectrum CBD oil. So to make sure that when I get CBD oil, that I do get full spectrum. And the reason it was suggested in that way, clearly from the diagram, is to ensure that my system benefits from all the components of the plant. Whereas if you isolate, you don't necessarily get the full benefits. And because my journey is one in which I'm really seeking the opportunity to get the full benefit, I use both, just the CBD oil, but still full spectrum, but minimal THC. But at night, I use a full spectrum with a higher THC so I can sleep well. And then my body can then be nurtured by the full spectrum, full dose benefits of the whole plant. So that's how I've been using it. And I've received tremendous benefits, like I say, cognitively, creatively, and most assuredly, pain in regards to my pain management. That's just my little cap or overview of what this journey has brought for me. Please subscribe to the channel and stay tuned, because over the next couple of weeks, we've got a number of really incredible speakers coming to join me. One of whom is actually from my doctor's office, who will be sharing a little bit about not really my personal journey, but about the journey of the establishment of this clinic that's in my neck of the woods, and how she came to be at this clinic, and who she sees within the community utilizing and benefiting from the introduction of the CBD and cannabis plants into their medical regime. So to recap, I came to CBD and cannabis in search of answers to my chronic pain. And I've discovered a world of help and support and relief, as well as personal growth, professional development, and creativity that I didn't know I was missing. I don't know if that will be your story. I would welcome discussions from people whose experience with the plant isn't perhaps the same as mine, whether it's in whatever manner. I'm one of those people who really benefits from people who function differently than I do. So if that's you, give me a comment. My contact information is below. These diagrams will be, oh, I just showed you one. There are two, but they'll be available if you send me your email or just even request below. I will be sure to send it to you as well. And I look forward to talking with you again soon. Again, subscribe, ring the bell, and stay tuned. Great things are just over the horizon. You take care. Thanks for joining. Bye now. Oops, not bye yet. It's bye now.